Hi, it's Abna here of Praus Finance. I'm here again to speak to you about recent changes to the stamp duty and land tax that is in the UK. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to call it stamp duty to make it easier. So there were a few changes that came about in September 2022 as a result of a mini budget that was announced in the UK. It means that first-time home buyers originally were able to purchase a property up to £300,000 without paying any stamp duty. The recent changes, which is absolutely good news, means that anyone who purchases a property, a first-time buyer who purchases a property up to £425,000 would not have to pay stamp duty. So that's what has come out in the market. So I'm just going to go through what it is now. So stamp duty basically means, stamp duty, I'm looking at my screen here, so pardon me. So stamp duty is basically a tax on purchases, property purchases within the UK. So if you're not familiar with that, is it? Disclaimer here, I'm not a financial tax consultant or specialist or anything. I'm just sharing what I've learned from educational content and my understanding of the changes that have come in place. And the whole purpose of this video, actually let me say it now, the whole purpose of this video is to make sure that you are not buying more than what you're worth. So as we go through the video, as we go through the examples, you realize that although you may be saving on stamp duty, it's actually going to cost you, it actually has a potential to cost you more than the savings that you're making from the stamp duty changes that are coming up. So like I said, recent changes in September 2022 means that anyone first-time buyer who purchases a property up to £425,000 would not have to pay stamp duty, which is amazing news. It's only applicable in England, Scotland, Ireland and Wales. This is just for England, so just bear in mind of that. Like I said, the changes prior to the mini budget was that anything up to 300,000 you were cool. Like you didn't have to do it. An increase of 125,000 means that now you can actually buy more property than you could originally. But then as you go through this video, like I said, I'm going to tell you why. If you haven't got your finances in place or you haven't really done a budget on it, or maybe we're best place to just stick to your original budget, because there's been a lot of changes with mortgages as well within the UK. So that's what I'm going to tell you about. But that is where I want, so though it's gone up to £425,000, this is where I want first-time buyers to be really careful with these changes that have come into place. Okay, so the changes that have come into place is that banks may relax eligibility rates within the UK. Whilst this change to stamp duty spells good news for those who can afford it, there is still some caution to be taken, especially looking at recent changes to the Bank of England base rates and predicted further increases within the coming years to tackle inflation. Basically, that's what they're saying. They're saying that they have to increase the base rates to tackle inflation, and it's a whole economics thing, so you may have to read about it. The third point that I want first-time buyers to be careful of, or to take into account, is there is a chance that the supposed saving you may be making on the stamp duty will likely be eroded in a year and still costing you about £24,000, and I'll show you the data. So although if you buy a £425,000 house, you may save £6,000, it may end up costing you £24,000. So yeah, you might save £6,000 and end up costing £24,000 of that. Okay, so I'm just going to switch over to my computer and I'm going to share a few slides that I've made, and then you'll be able to look at it up to that. Okay, but before I say that, there's something that I want to say as well. There are restrictions to these property purchases. Okay, so the property has to be, so the value of the property should not be more than £625,000 to be eligible for the 0% thing. Okay, so let's say if you bought a house at £600,000, your first time buyer, or you and your husband or partner or whoever are both first time buyers, and you bought a house up to £625,000, you will pay 0% tax on the value up to 425, and the difference between 425 and 625, you pay the stamp duty on that amount, which is about 5% or so. I have to check to tell you. So if you buy a property that's above £625,000, you will not be able to use this benefit at all, because there's a restriction to it. The restriction is £625,000. So I'm just going to slide over to my computer now, and then I'm going to share my screen. I prepared some slides. I'm not like a presentation expert, but I think that it gives a good understanding of what it is. I'm going to use 3 people. I'm going to use Ajoa, Sonia, and Bridget to give you the example of what we're doing, and then hopefully the pictures will help you understand what I'm saying. So you may save money, but it's actually going to cost you more because of the Bank of England base rate. Okay, so let's do that. I'll just turn back to my computer and then we'll do that currently, okay? We get to a girl born on a Monday. And yes, Adjoa is lighter skinned than Bridget in this thing, which is very funny. But so both their ladies were looking to buy pre-mini budget, and we will look at their figures. Remember, the point of this video is to help you understand the impact of the stamp duty changes. So assumptions we're making is that we assume that they will both get a mortgage with their income. Note banks will assess your affordability on a number of factors, including current commitment like loans, credit agreements, payment, travel costs, employment history, etc., etc., etc. We also assume that interest rate is fixed at 5% for 5.49%. So I took this figure from First Direct Bank on the 4th of October 2022. Since then, things have changed a lot. This is not an advert to First Direct. It was only an example of the things that I covered there. Okay. We also assume that bank approves each of them for a maximum loan of £340,000 each. So let's start. So we have Ajoa and then we have Bridget. So they both have a salary of £65,000 per annum. So Ajoa, like I said, they're both 35 years of age. Ajoa decides that she will buy a house that is £90,000 lower than what she has been approved for, and Bridget, on the other hand, decides to take full advantage of the maximum approval that they have. Because when I say maximum approval, so although they've been approved for 340, their deposit will determine if they can take advantage of the maximum loan. Okay, they both earn the same amount of income, like I've said. So you can see that the circle budget is £425,000. And they both have the same pension arrangements where they pay 5%. We are going to assume that after deductions and having the same tax code, their take home is the same. You can estimate take home by using the salary calculator that's on the internet, which I will link below in the description chat. Stamp duty, therefore, so like I said, prior to the mini budget, you could only, first time buyers buying a property up to £500,000. Any property up to £300,000, they don't pay any stamp duty on it. Anything above £300,000, between £300,000 and £500,000, they pay 5% on that. So Ajoa, because she decided to do £315,000, means that she therefore pays £750 in stamp duty. Bridget, on the other hand, for £25,000, she pays £625,000, £6,250 in stamp duty. Okay, so this is all pre-mini budget. So you can see at the top here, we're talking about pre-mini budget before the September 2022 changes took place. Okay, and then so deposit, because she's buying £315,000, they all decided to put a deposit of 20% here. You can see it highlighted at 20%. So she puts £63,000 for her deposit, and Bridget puts down £85,000 for her deposit. So in summary, Bridget has paid a higher stamp duty than Ajoa has because she decided to use the full amount and then put the difference down for that. And you could see that in mortgage terms, Bridget is paying £1,918 and Ajoa is paying £1,421. So it's like almost 490 something, approximately £500 difference between both mortgages in the town. Okay, so hope this is clear. So this is everything before the changes happened in September 2022, and to just give you a good idea. So again, I'm going to tell you the purpose of this presentation is to explain to you that although you may take advantage of the stamp duty changes and save this £6,250 here, if you're not careful, it's going to cost you more than what you actually have to spend on it. Okay, so
Next slide. So the changes that have come about as a result of the mini budget, I'm just going to talk to you through it quickly. So like we said, we assume that they will both get a mortgage with their income. Interest rate is fixed at a certain amount. Interest rates have changed since then, but this is from the 4th of October. Bank approves them for the same loan. So now we have Ajoa and Sonia. So Sonia decides to buy after the mini budget. So she's going to take advantage of the stamp duty changes, which means that she buys a property that's £425,000. She's going to save the $6,250 that that Bridget originally paid. She's not going to save it, but we're going to see the impact of that on her finances if she hadn't planned well. Okay, so this is what we're going to do right now. So these ladies, so Ajoa and Sonia now decide to buy after the stamp duty changes that came effective September 2022. Okay, so they're both 35 years of age. So 315,000, like I said, Sonia is taking advantage of it, so she's buying at £425,000. Pension arrangements are the same for both of them at work, which is taking gross salary, and their monthly take-home pay is the same. Again, I'm assuming that the bank has approved, although their take-home pay is this, the bank has approved them for this amount. Okay. Stamp duty is 0 for each one of them. So you can see the stamp duty here is 0 for each one of them, because this is after the changes I've made, so that both properties are up to £425,000, so they both don't pay stamp duty. Deposit still stays the same, and then mortgage term is 30 years for both of them, and then monthly mortgage is still 1918 and 1421 based on that interest rate that we spoke about at the top. So here's where someone would say that I have enough deposit saved and I have extra saving on stamp duty will be such a great deal. That's what Sonia would say. She's like, oh, I have enough saved, enough stamp duty and stuff, so I'm quite good. Like, this is such a great deal for me. So she's saving £6,250 on her. Okay. And yes, that would be a great deal if, and I stress on it, if you were already in the process of the purchase and had locked down a lower interest rate of 5.49. Because as soon as the base of the Bank of England base rate goes up, banks also would increase their mortgage rates, which means that if it was 5.49 and the Bank of England base rate went up by an additional, let's say 1%, that means that you have an extra percentage of interest to pay on the mortgage. So these are the things that I want to talk about as we go through this. So I hope you're paying attention. If you haven't just watched the video again, I think it'll be good for you. So slide 5. So you're going to the next one. So you can see that, just to see that they all have 0% interest on that. Okay. So I'm going to compare pre-mini budgets on stamp duty effect and after the mini budget stamp duty effect. Hopefully you would understand this a lot better. So again, our same assumptions here. So now we're comparing Bridget and Sonia. Remember, they're buying the same value of property. Bridget bought before the mini budget came into place, or before the September 2022 changes, and Sonia is buying after the September 2022 changes. Okay, so Sonia is going to save on stamp duty, but then we'll see the effect of her thing. Okay. So purchase date, Bridget buys pre-September 2022, Sonia buys post in September, so she takes advantage of the September 2022 changes that have come in. They both spend £425,000 each, and then their monthly mortgage payment is actually the same. So if you were doing this, you're like, oh, she saved £6,200, but she's still paying that, okay? And then the mortgage term is both 30 years. So Bridget here has paid £6,250 in stamp duty. Sonia has paid nothing in stamp duty. So someone will argue, oh, actually, that's a good saving because Sonia will say, I haven't paid any stamp duty. And Bridget will say, I pay £6,250. But remember that your interest rate is fixed at 5 years. So Bridget's interest rate was fixed at 5 years. Sonia's is different. We're going to tell you that Sonia's is different, okay? So she saves the mini budgets. So Sonia has saved £6,250 because she completed her purchase after September 2022 or when the changes came into effect. Okay, so this is what I want you to be careful about. Okay, so post mini budget. So although she saved £6,250 because of the inflation in the UK and the Bank of England's attempt to curb inflation through the base rate increases, there's likely going to be a base rate increase for both these girls, for Sonia. Bridget, however, has fixed her. So although she's paying 1,019 for her deposit and she's paid that amount for her stamp duty, because she fixed at 5.49 for 4 years, that's a bit of savings that's going on there. Okay. Sonia, on the other hand, because of the likely base rate increase, then it's going to be an issue for her because it's going to go up. So although she saved 6,250, likelihood is that she's going to pay more over the initial 5-year term. Okay. So mini budget stamp duty savings is what I have here. Okay. So I'm saying that, so Sonia, on the other hand, may be in a good stead if she had already agreed and got her mortgage offer before any Bank of England base rate. So assuming that, let's say she completed in, let's say, 30th of September 2022. Let's just assume that. And let's say that she had already got a mortgage offer before any Bank of England base rate. That is when she gets a benefit from it. If she hasn't done it, and let's say somehow the banks have withdrew the offer or something has gone wrong, then that's where the problem comes in. But if her offer has been fixed and there have been no changes and the bank had withdrawn it, then she has made a savings. But here, we're going to assume that her offer had not been finalized to do that, so that's why we're going through this option. Okay.
So the next one is
mini budget changes. Yeah. So we are going to assume that Sonia got her mortgage with her income. Her loan was approved for 340,000, and we assume that a bank carried out an affordability assessment to a 10% interest rate. So let me say this: although a bank will give you a mortgage for, let's say, 1.99%, 3%, whatever, and I'm saying 1.99% because in 2021, so those are some of the interest rates in the market. So although the bank will give you that, they will still do a stress. They call it a stress test to see if, should mortgages go up to 6%, you'll still be able to afford your mortgage. Okay, so that's what affordability, a stress test is. And we're going to assume that she was stress tested to 10%. Okay, she was stress tested to 10%. So like I said, mini budget stamp duty savings of £6,250 if she completes up to the date and whilst no further changes are made to the stamp duty changes. Okay, so we're using the September 22 changes that came about. However, should the Bank of England base rate here rise by an additional 2% before she gets her mortgage offer, okay, she's likely to have a mortgage rate of 8%. So prior to that, it was 5.49, wasn't it? So we're just assuming that a likely mortgage rate of 8% on that loan of 340,000 that she took earlier. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. 8% interest rate is quite high. So I'm thinking through this to see how best for you guys are. So she's at a risk of getting a new rate of 8%, like I said. 8% would therefore mean a monthly mortgage payment of £2,495. And remember, their take home was 3,793, which means that she only has about 1,300 money left after she's paid off her mortgage. And we know in bills have gone up, everything has gone up. So although she's making a saving of £6,250, it's 2,495. Remember, Bridget's mortgage was 1,914, something like that, which means that Sonia, although she's £6,250, she's actually paying £500 more because she completed after that, or she decided to take advantage of the new stamp duty changes and she decided to buy a bigger house. Okay, yeah, that's what you have to think about when you're looking at these things. So if you take advantage of the stamp duty changes that are happening, you have to consider the impact that will be on your finances and your mortgage rate and everything. So Bridget's was, I think, 1,940 or so. I'll go back to look at the figures. 1,940. She is 2,495. So that's it, £500. Okay. If you divide 6,250 here by £500, you're looking at about a year. You would have eroded the savings that you made of £6,250 in a year and a half month. Okay, so, and then let's say your mortgage rate was 5 years, right? You're paying £500 extra compared to Bridget. you're paying £500 extra. £500. You have 4 years left of your initial 5 years rate, right? You've cancelled the original £625,250 in a year. The saving as you wrote it in a year. You still have 4 years to go. So within the 4 years that you have left to go, it means that you have 500 times 48 months of extra payments to make. Just because you decided to buy a big house because you thought you were saving 6,250. If the finances cannot take the extra load of it, please do not do it. Check the finances well, calculate well before you do it, okay? So mortgage payment of $2,495, okay? So I'm just going to go through quickly. So remember what we said about Joe and Bridget. I'm not going to go through in details. Yeah, take home was 3739. And then their monthly mortgage was this amount. So assuming that Sonia had stayed within budget and bought the same as Ajua, she would have been fine. Okay, she would have been absolutely fine. Okay. So I'm just going to compare the three ladies here. So apologies, this should be Sonia. Apologies for that. So Ajua, so these are the house prices. You have 315, 425, 425. So expected completion date is August 2022, August 2022 for Bridget and Ajua, and then Sonia buys in February 2023. It's Sonia, not Bridget. I made a mistake with the slides. Pardon me on that. It's Bridget. It's Sonia here. And then the fixed term mortgages are 60 months. Okay, so 1 year is 12 months. 5 years for a 5 term is 60 months. Easy math. 5 times 12 is 60. Okay, so the interest rate, they were lucky got 5.44%, Ajua and Bridget, because they completed at the same time. Bridget's went up to 8%. By the time she came to completion, and because she hadn't accepted that she hasn't got a mortgage offer already, it came to 8%. Remember, their mortgage payments are this amount, so Bridget is paying almost £1,000 more than Ajua is because she decided to take advantage of the stamp duty thing. I'm sorry, Sonia decided to take advantage, so she's paying £1,000 more. Bridget, on the other hand, is so £500 on that. Okay. However, what I've got to say is that, in summary, Ajua purchased way below her approved amount. Okay, so the bank approved her follow, but she paid way below that, and she managed to fix for 5.44% prior to the mini budget changes coming in. So she still paid stamp duty of $750. Bridget, on the other hand, decided to take the full amount, so she paid. She got 5.44% as well, but then she paid £6,250 in savings. Sonia, on the other hand, so this is Sonia, not Bridget, sorry. I have to change the slides. So Sonia, on the other hand, 8%, 2425. Okay. So bearing in mind that the potential impact to the base rate and subsequent increase to the cost of borrowing and her monthly mortgage payment, so she hadn't even thought about that she's borrowed a lot more money, and as long as you borrow more, when the interest rate goes up, it means that you're paying more per month. Okay, Sonia could have done some quick maths. So knowing that these were things that were going to go on, Sonia could have done some quick maths and purchased their property lower than the approved amount. Okay, so it's always good to have foresight. When you know what the economy is going, it's always good to have foresight of it. Okay, all she thought about was saving on the stamp duty, where if you compare these two, all she thought about was, I'm saving £6,250. She didn't think about the fact that there was a potential that the Bank of England base rate would go up. Okay, and in all this, I'm assuming that their salary stays the same for some time, and this is quite normal because most people in the UK haven't gotten a salary increase in the past 3 years. So I'm just assuming that this is normal for them to go through that. Okay, here Sonia monthly mortgage has increased by, so you can see me doing the math, so 2425 by that, by £507 compared to Bridget's. Even though they're buying the same value of property and she saved on stamp duty, her monthly mortgage has gone up by £507, which has come about because of the difference in the interest rates between the two of them. Okay, so the SDLT benefits erodes. So when I say erodes, it means that she breaks even. So although she saves up £6,250, the SDLT benefits quickly erodes. So that's basically 6,250 divided by that saving that she made, and then so 12.12 months. So basically, within a year and 2 weeks or so, she's basically lost the benefit of the £6,250 that she saved on stamp duty. That's what I want to talk to you guys about, which is serious. Okay. So, Bridget, mini stamp duty changes of that. Assuming she was completed after February 2023. Her monthly mortgage has increased by 507, and the time taken to roll the benefit of the stamp duty is basically 12 months. Quick maths, just divide the stamp duty savings divided by her increase in mortgage, and basically within 12 months, she's basically lost the benefit of the stamp duty because she decided to take advantage of it without considering her finances. Okay, so and the total cost of taking advantage of the SDLT is this huge figure here. And this is basically £507. That's the amount her mortgage has increased by the £48 that's remain, 48 months that's remaining on her mortgage. So 507 times 48, basically something like that. It's not great. Okay. So it implies that, sorry about that, it implies that she breaks even, but we also know that the initial fixed term is 5 years. Okay, so after 5 years, the SDLT saving is basically what I've said originally. Okay, and then so basically Sonia saved £6,250 on stamp duty, or Bridget, because it shows Bridget here, so let's say Bridget. Okay, so she basically saved £6,250, £6,250 on stamp duty, but it has cost her £24,000 in 5 years.
Like I said, this has only happened because she decided to take advantage of the stamp duty changes without looking at the long-term effects of those changes. So I'm not saying that it's bad to take advantage of the new stamp duty. It actually gives a saving of £6,250, like the example that we gave. However, what I'm saying is that if you are going to take advantage of any stamp duty, then you also have to consider the long-term impacts of any base rate changes as well. I know we do not have crystal balls to look into the future, or we don't know exactly what's going to happen, and we shouldn't have crystal balls anyway. But it is something worth considering, including your initial fixed rate and any long-term changes to the base rate. Also look at the changes to your circumstances. Okay, if you're happy and you've got a new job, or you're sure of any extra source of income that would cover the extra cost of the mortgage due to any base rate increases, then you may be okay, or it's actually a very good deal for you because you saved money and you can still afford the difference in the mortgage that you're paying. There's a caveat that I want to know though. With all these calculations that I've made, all these examples that I've shared today, some of the caveats that I want to draw on is that I haven't assessed affordability in any way, either way the banks do it. I've made loads of assumptions in doing this. I've also not considered any significant increases in earnings or income for any of the ladies that we showed in the presentation today. I haven't considered the location of the property, your travel costs to work, bills, potential to get a lodger. I haven't considered that. With regards to the lodger, note that in the UK, you are allowed to get a lodger and charge a certain amount of money every month, up to a certain maximum, without a maximum of income being taxed. So it's something to look into. I have also not considered any subsequent changes to rates after the fixed term. So this is quite important, because remember that in this example that we gave, one was completed in August 2022, another was completed in September 2023. The one in 2023 was the one who saved on the stamp duty changes, which means that for the one who completed in August 2022, her remortgage date is around August 2027, and the one in February 2023, her remortgage date is in February 2028. Also remember that you may be able to remortgage a few months earlier without incurring any early repayment charges, but you have to check the terms of your mortgage to qualify for that. Or you could get a remortgage offer in place before that happens. Okay. So it may be that when Sonia gets around to remortgaging in February 2028, however, somehow by providence, the rates have decreased drastically, And Bridget's, on the other hand, when she comes to remortgage in August 2022, it may still be high. So she would remortgage at a higher, although she was 5.44, she will get there and it's like 7%. So she has to remortgage for another 2 years, 5 years, depending on whatever she agrees to do. And she will make remortgages higher. Sonia, on the other hand, by Providence, will get to February 2028 and would want to remortgage and realize that actually it's actually reduced to like 3%, which means that she then has a lower rate, and then she will decide if she wants to fix for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever she wants to fix to. Okay. What I am saying is that if you want to take advantage of the stamp duty changes that are currently happening, I want you to really consider the initial term of the mortgage that you're taking. So 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 7 years, whatever it is. And consider or do some calculations to find out if this is really beneficial. Because should interest rates, and also consider if interest rates increase, what will be the effect on myself, on the payments that I'm making, on my budget, on my household? You don't know. So these are the things you have to look at. So I hope you found this really useful. I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that you shouldn't necessarily take advantage of the stamp duty changes if you haven't really considered base rate increases, your circumstances, your career, your earnings, your life changes that may be coming up. Do your real maths to take advantage, to look at that. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. I will try and answer. Again, I'm not an expert or a professional on this. I'm just looking at the numbers in rough terms without knowing what our fiscal budget in the UK will be, or what the financial situation, economic situation in the UK will be, and the impact on rates. I have no idea. I'm just looking at numbers raw as they are. Maybe we're speaking to a mortgage advisor or mortgage broker or someone to look at this more for you. My point is, ensure you always have a good budget. Always think for the worst when you're buying a house. Use worse figures than it is. Like the banks will stress test you on a higher mortgage rate. You also do the same thing, basically. Again, look into the larger route if you're comfortable with it. Like I say, you're not buying a house so that someone comes to pay for your house for it. The banks will actually ask you if you are the only person living in the house or who else will be living in the house with you. And it may even affect your home insurance. So please look at these things first before you look at it. If you found this useful in any way, please like, subscribe and share. Also follow my Instagram page, Praus Life Finance. I'll try and do some AMAs, ask me a question there. So for the next episode, and this is a lesson learned that I've learned, I'm going to talk about if you should be fixing for 2 years or 5 years and how the mortgage amortization works. So please do follow the page, and I hope you found this useful. If anything was too quick, please go back and rewatch the video, and I hope you find this useful. So see ya in the next video. Bye.